Good afternoon and welcome to the FX Daily, excuse me, FX Daily Roundup here with ForexAnalytix. We are seeing a good move here in the cable. Obviously, Brexit related. One of the people was asking in the chat room, or someone had mentioned about guidance and what kind of guidance can someone provide. Look, it's let me just go and move into the daily chart. It's a fundamental situation where the market's being whipped around by headlines, and obviously if the headlines disappoint, we certainly see a reaction one way, or a positive headline the other way. That's the key thing about technicals. When people look at it, and some people say, well, it's hard to measure market with technicals, whatever. The one thing that technicals do is they assess, not necessarily assess, but they help you to assess what your risk level is going to be. And so what I was referencing here is what we're looking at on the 2-hour chart, and I posted that chart earlier here in the room, is looking at 2402. Let me just move this up. Obviously, it's jumped above, which was going to be our daily bias chart resistance here. Bear with me. Now, these levels are set up at 3 a.m. in the morning Central Standard Time when we do the European crossover webinar. We've been talking about this 1020 for some time. We'll get to that. But the key level here was 2352. Well, you can see we zoomed past that. Well, when we zoom past it, obviously that triggered stops, and you're seeing for the short covering. So what we're looking at right now is, you can see here, 2402 with 2425 coming in here. Just like a little zone. Doesn't mean we can't push hard, but this is where you would expect to see some resistance. So, and not necessarily resistance says turn around and sell it, because like I said, although the market has been under a lot of pressure, this market has been very, very oversold, and also it's been holding up very well here. So anybody that's short saying, hey, look, it's going to push lower, and it doesn't. So then they start to put their stops. Okay, I'll put my stops here. I'll put my stops at 2352. I'll put my stops, and so forth. And here's where you'll probably see the market, if anyone's playing it for the long side, probably take off a little bit here at 2402, between 24.2 and 24.25. We can also take a look at a fib. Okay. So as I mentioned, we have 2402 and then 2425. 2435 is the 61%. Now, one of the things that cable loves to go after, or the starting pairs, is the 78%. That's still a big move up here. Doesn't mean we couldn't get there, but I'm saying is, once again, if you're trying to assess risk levels, this here is, if someone's playing it for the long side, they may end up taking a portion of the long if they want to be long for a little bit, for the run, between 2402, which we just knocked off 2402 just now. You can see that right there, or just about there at 2402. Between this 24.2 and 24.25, the market may try and stretch a little bit further, but I mean, I wouldn't necessarily come in trying to short the market, only because it's been oversold for so long. We're getting close to the end, not too close, but as we get closer towards the end of the month, the whole big Brexit thing, you can see some of these moves run. And although we've had, reactions, and then the market gives it back, the one thing you have to look at is we've built up a lot of, I don't want to say it's support necessarily, but down here. So anybody that shorts it is maybe getting frustrated and saying, okay, I think we're going to go in and break lower. Wait a minute, it's not happening. Or someone says, you know what, I'm going to get short here because I think we're going to break lower. And so those people are going to have their stops not too far away at this point, saying, well, I thought we were going to break lower. Well, I put my stop here, or I'm looking for this one, or if it gets beyond 24, I'm out the door. So you can see this market, as I mentioned, run up to about 2402. If we look at the high, 24 even. So we're looking at 2402 to 2425. We may go up there, goose some stops. Market knows that there are a few people short, so they probably put their orders to sell as we trip some of those stops. So market's going to know there's some stops at 24. They'll see if they can push it beyond that. We'll see what happens. But that's where we stand on this. Another market that we're looking at, obviously, is here on the euro. We're going to take a look. We talked about that yesterday. And if you remember, we spent some time looking at the boons, and we will go to the boons right now. So one of the things we were talking about yesterday was the significance if we could get a close above 1020, that would serve two purposes. Not only would we get above this key daily level, 1020, but we'd also break this downtrend line. So what we were looking at and what we were referencing was what potentially could be the catalyst. Okay, I mean, we already saw the market moving, but we're saying, hey, this can be a catalyst to go on and move this euro higher, and we're going to move into that, which are the boons. Now, as you remember, we were talking about this yesterday. We hadn't even made it to 75.28. Okay, we were holding, I think, right here around this broken trend line. When I did the analysis, and I don't know why it didn't say, but I did the analysis on Tuesday evening for end of the day analysis because Blake's traveling with his family, and that's where I ended up looking at the boons. I do look at it, but not as much as I used to. But I looked at this and said, wow. We're starting to go and break down. I mentioned here, and that's where it didn't say in my notes. It said, I put on here, I think we're in the early phases of a breakdown. Okay. And I think Steve's been bearish on the boons, I think, for close to a month now. But as I mentioned, one of the things that I thought that this would potentially make a move here in the euro is because the boons and its move to higher levels, which inversely works with rates as German bond yields have gone negative, is what drove the euro lower. When we'd make these steps up, boom, here comes the euro, another dip. Another one, boom, here comes the euro to another dip. Well, we've been seeing the boons break down now. Has the German data improved? You can say, wow, well, that makes sense. No, the German data has actually gotten worse, okay? And I think we had a piece of data come out day before yesterday or maybe early yesterday that was a little bit of a surprise to the upside, nothing dramatic or anything like that. But here's the trick. You're thinking, well, we must be getting good data because the boons are breaking down. That's the thing, is if we're not even getting good data continues to come in woeful, and we're breaking down. Well, this is what preceded the move in the euro. So my take was that not only were in the early phases of potentially a good breakdown, and we were just here at this trend line, is that if we got past 75.28, which you are now, that I thought that we could see this market cascade lower. And we've already seen it come off quite a bit. Remember, we were right here. We weren't even at 75.28. I think we were yesterday afternoon, we might have been around 75.60, 75.80. Look at it. We've already come off 150 ticks. And we're coming into a Friday, so you could see this thing really pull back. And if it does, hence that was I offered that warning. I said, hey, be careful, because we could really start to see this euro take off. And not because I'm any type of a euro bull, because I'm absolutely the opposite. This year has just been one woeful, as I refer to as a junk currency. But here's the deal here. It's been down, down, down. We had a lot of people saying, oh, it's going to rally. It's going to rally. It hasn't rallied, okay? No matter how many times people have said. All I'm saying is now was that, don't forget, it's the boons that have led the rally, or not rally, but the fall in the euro. So if the boons potentially, and it looks like they may do that, can cascade lower, then potentially we'll see part of those same positions evened up. Okay. So I'm not one of these people who's going to be saying, oh, we're going to 120, we're going to 118. But I think that potentially we've already started to break up here. If we get a daily close above 1020, we're going to see some positions being covered. Potentially, if we do see the boons cascade lower, we could make an eventual run up here to 1113, which isn't even saying that much. Okay, that's less than 100 pips away. Okay, but like I said, from a technical standpoint, you'd be saying, whoa, you know what? I need to go and cover the euro. I'll tell you what, I am bearish the euro, but I'll get short at better levels. And where those levels are, well, 1075 is not even that far away. Not that we can't take a pause there, but I think the move can make it up here to 1113 on the backdrop of boons cascading lower. So that's my thoughts on here. We had it from yesterday. I was, warning or trying to advise to be careful with that. Cable's still staying up here pretty steady. We mentioned about dollar CAD. One of the things we mentioned dollar CAD in the European crossover this morning, we'll go into the dollar CAD on a daily. Again, I've mentioned again on the end of the day analysis, I said, hey, look, it's all about the 33.36. And we mentioned that today, and I said, hey, look, gun to head, if you're going to do anything, you could just go on and short the dollar CAD. with a stop above 33.36 or 33.36 on a daily close. And I think we were right around this area, maybe just a hair bit lower. And we've since now, not only have we went to 32, we actually went down to 33. We rallied up to 33.20, and now here we are at 32.79. Now we do have some support here at 32.56 on the 2-hour. But my point is that, and I mentioned here on the European crossover, look, you can see, from the previous 10 trading days or so, this euro was really under some kind of dollar cat was really under some kind of I won't say trouble, but I mean, it would make these stabs hard, but it couldn't fill the bill. Okay. So then it looked like, wow, we're really going to break down. And then we saw this market really start to come under some pressure. One last gasp that took out these highs, and we finish up lower, and man, it looks like we're going to below 132. Then we staged a dramatic turnaround, but we had not been able to get past this 33.36, and that's what it was all about. You have to get beyond 33.36 to generate a new leg up higher. But the dollar index has been struggling up at these upper levels, so that's my point was this morning in the European crossover webinar. I said, hey, look, gun to head, you can just go and take a short against the dollar CAD. You gun to head, and I'm saying like it's the best setup, but gun to head and just put your stop above 33.36 or 33.36 on a daily close. And certainly we did see the market come down to 33, rally up to 33.20, then turn around, and now we've come down as low as what, 32.68. I'll go on and bring it up on a 2-hour chart. And here's that 32.56 right here. So now we have our bias chart support was at 32.88, but we've been able to push, be at 32.82. I mean, apologize, 32.88. We've been able to push lower than that. But like I said, here's at 33.36. Now on an intraday, that's been a huge level of the 82. But it's 36 where we have the asterisk, which is the closing basis, which needed to get done, and we just have not been able to fill the bill here. Henceforth, like I said, 1 day, okay, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. Holy smokes, are you going to do it or you're not going to do it? And that was my take here. Hey, look, it still hasn't done it. And that's what I mentioned, gun to head. You could, take a short position. Peso is coming down here. We saw a rally back up, but then we've fizzled, and once again, the dollar's under pressure. We actually have our bias chart support here at 1944. I think it's a decent area to come in to cover some shorts, but this market may be set up on rallies back to go on and cover. Another pair that we looked at today that we referenced here, let's go into that, which is the dollar yen. And we had a bias chart resistance at 808. And I made the case that, hey, look, there's a decent chance of thinking good to 808. And the reason was, we're kind of holding our steady here, but I said, hey, with this China talk, there's either going to be good news or rumors of good news. And that's going to allow this market to push up higher. If you look here on the 2-hour chart, you can see when we come in right here, you see there's the 808. So I'm thinking we can push up there. We haven't quite even made it to 8, but we're not that far away. You see what I'm saying? The high was, what, 797? So we're pretty close to that 808. But like I said, good news or rumors of good news can get us right there. You can see this volume level right there. Right there. So key closes right there at 808. Dollar index is pairing back. I do think that we have some support today at 98.50. But I think that if this thing comes under some pressure, we could see a move down here to 98.30. Now, we're looking potentially even lower, but I think 98.30, we'd probably see some short covering come in where the market, let's say, i.e. the euro, would make a push if we get beyond that. And my take is, as long as these boons are under pressure, you definitely don't want to be a seller of the euro. If you don't want to be a buyer, fine, but just don't be a seller as long as these boons remain under pressure. And these boons are under some kind of pressure. I'll switch back to that. There we go. Here you can see that. So that was my take from a couple of days ago. It was like, hey, I think we're on the early signs of a real breakdown. Obviously this thing's been weaker. You had like a double top, even came up here and rallied. As I said, I think Steve's been bearish for about a month. And the market pairs down here, comes into some support here. We get below it, we get above it, we're a little below it, we're back above it. But right here now, you see this little trend line on this two. I'm like, hey, wait a minute. It won't take much to kick grandma down the stairs. And there was the level that we were looking at before we even got there. We were actually, I think when we did the analysis, I think we were right up in here at the time. And from Tuesday. And then, like I said, here was my key level. I said 75.28. This thing gets below 75.28. Man, don't be short the euro. If anything, buy the euro. Really just on an evening up of positions. Well, look, we're going into a Friday. You go into a Friday, this thing can really start to cascade lower. And if we open up on Monday and keep on pressing, that's going to push that euro higher, if nothing else, on just simple adjustment of positions, like some short covering, just like, you know what, I'm going to take some of this stuff off, or some of these positions off in light of what's happening in the bunds. So just some food for thought there. Gold has gone and pared back a bit. We were looking at a zone. I'll get to that later. But we can see here with silver. Silver looked like it had a chance to move higher. We were talking about this morning in the European crossover webinar. And I don't generally follow silver, but like I said, I'm covering the end of the day analysis while Blake's out for other markets that I just don't normally follow. Silver's not a market that I really follow or trade. I haven't traded silver like I can't even remember. But although there's been some very nice moves in here. But it looked like we were on our way to 1803, although we did finish with a gravestone doji yesterday. And if we could get past 1803, this would be not only this level, the 61%, and then you'd have this little downtrend line, but certainly doesn't look like it's going to happen, and we're certainly under some pressure. Looking at crude oil, talking to a couple of guys in the room from the last couple of days, and I think the market was sold out. And I thought, and I think I might have mentioned it here too, I thought the risk was, I was looking at that 51.98 with the risk all the way down to 50.98, potentially. And we've seen the market come back, okay, but it's had a very tough time now. I mean, it seems like it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward. But I think there's a potential that we could get up here to this 54, 43. I've got 53.38 as the top of a 30-minute zone. It's just, if we get that good news, I think it'll push some stops, but the market certainly doesn't act like it wants to move higher. It just might be where we kind of sit there and then we just goose some stops. But that'll be an area to look at. Look at it once again, 54.38. Actually, it's 54 to 54.38 on the zone in the 30-minute. S&Ps, we did make it up to that 29.45. I did mention that from the other day. We'll go and take a look here. One of the things that we cover, I don't even remember if it even, I don't know, some of the stuff didn't save for me. I don't know, maybe, obviously it must have been user error. But one of the things I'd point out, this is from 2 days ago, I said, hey, look, our resistance is going to be 29.21 on a daily close. Okay, didn't do it on a daily close, but I said, if we can get a close of a 29.21, that's going to open the door for us to challenge 29.45, which probably seemed like a pipe dream at the time, but we did make it up here. Now at 29.45, actually we've seen a pretty low pullback. I took a scalp. I didn't stick around for long because I thought, hey, look, maybe we'll kind of sit around there and push up. And but look, we have gone, and I said that 29.45 was going to be, and on this S&P cash, turns out it's 29.47 and a half or a quarter on the D's futures. But you can see a nice reaction level here. And so we've gone and since pulled back here. I hung around only for a couple of handles, took one off and then the other half for 2 handles. And the market kind of came back and sat there and dithered around. I'm thinking, you know what if it pushes it for one more leg just to squeeze some people? No use sticking around. But it did turn out to be a good reactionary level. Other than that, not really a whole lot happening. Now, we are seeing the guppy push up higher, obviously with these sterling pairs. We'll take a look at that. My voice is starting to come back better. Still a little bit hoarse, but hopefully over this weekend I'll have all my energy back. You can see here with the guppy, we had a pretty good little run here. Let's take a look here. Let's remove this. So they've held here and they've broken above this 132, and we're making a mad dash, but we've got some nice resistance coming in right there. You can see that right there on the guppy, 33.95, 30, and we're at 33.80. And the high so far has been 33.84. So Very nice move in here. Let's take a look what we see here with the stand here with the sterling odd. Yeah, it looks like we just dinged that level just right here to the pip, 83.23. And as I mentioned, I always put my levels of resistance support across the bodies because to me that's where all the volume is. Okay, I always say the same thing. You know, how many people sold the high, how many people sold the low. Let me see. Okay, one of the guys is saying he took 2402. He got short 2402. Is gonna. Whoa, man! Oh my goodness, he top ticked it. Fantastic. That was DK. Let me go on and we'll go and take a look at the cable right now. Looks like he just top ticked it. I put in the room the resistance of 2402 to 2425. So it looks like DK Trading just top ticked it right there. There's our 2402. As I mentioned, you know, one of the guys had joked about, guidance, because, and I mentioned I posted a chart and my technical levels, or what I was looking at, 2402 to 2425. You can see the 25 coming across here on the 2-hour chart. And my take is, like I said, I know some people that don't trade charts or whatever they'll consider, technical analysis, sometimes like voodoo or whatever like that. But here's the deal is, and I was mentioning, look, these Brexit headlines, they're a huge fundamental in the sense of something that we can't control. And also these headlines keep swinging back and forth. So the only thing we can do is use the technicals to assess your risk. So that's why, like I said, I mentioned just a few moments ago, I like to put my support and resistance across the bodies because that's where the volume is. Like I said, how many people sold the high, how many people bought the low. And so the markets react pretty good against these levels. You'll see me, I'll put it in pink. Generally, I put my support and resistance levels here. They're all going to be in navy. The thicker level will mean that it's more prominent because it makes it easier for me to go in and see things. So even if I've been looking at a pair I haven't paid much attention to, I see a real thick line, I go, okay, well, that has greater significance. Where you see me put in pink is I'll usually put the bias chart resistance and support because if I'm looking across multiple lines, I see a market hitting like, whoa, you know what I mean? And I can see that and it stands out. So that's the reasoning why. Now, our bias chart support resistance I mentioned today was actually 23.52. And you can see here the touches right here. But we blew past that. So how far can we take it? Well, like I said, they know that this cable is susceptible to these headlines and going right back down the other direction. So as I mentioned I'm thinking, like Blake likes to say, put yourself in the other guys or gals' shoes and you think, okay, if they played it long, where would they look to exit? Well, I would think between 2402 to 2425. Doesn't mean that stops the market. I'm just saying is you're looking for areas where someone say, hey, look, I'm not trying to, I'm long. I'm not trying to go in and squeeze every nickel and dime out of this thing. I'm long. I've got a few, like one of the guys, like Eric in the chat room, he grabbed it for 60 pips. I don't know what he got out, but I mean, he got long this. Oh, he got long here. I think he said at 22. So, we've had that good support down here and he jumped out. So if you're long here and you've played this, you're saying, where's a good level? I'm not trying to top ticket. I might end up missing, giving up a big chunk of my gain. So you look for those areas and we got a nice zone here between 2402 to 2425. Anyway, enough of that. Oh, we're really out of time. Boy, we really spent some time on this. So thanks for joining us here on the FX Daily Roundup. And you can catch us on Face tomorrow. The European crossover, that's for the, is it 4 a.m. Eastern, where we have the bias chart. We lay out the levels for the day. And like I said, you may want to consider the 10-day trial with ForexAnalytix. Get a chance to kick the tires, see the different disciplines that we have, whether it's macro, basic technical, harmonics, Elliott wave, as well as to me, the strength that is in the chat room, and also the different webinars that we do go and offer. Thanks for joining us. Good luck with the rest of the day trading.